It all started on what was supposed to be just another quiet day at school. The new girl, Maya, had only been there for a week, trying to keep her head down and adjust to the unfamiliar faces around her. But for some students, her calm nature and quiet confidence made her an easy target. A small group of bullies noticed her right away, whispering behind her back, mocking the way she dressed, and making her feel like she didn't belong. They thought she was alone, just another outsider who wouldn't fight back. What they didn't know was that Maya carried a strength within her far greater than they could ever imagine. That afternoon, when the bullies decided to push things too far, they cornered Maya near the edge of the schoolyard. Their cruel laughter filled the air as they tried to scare her, not realizing the danger they were putting themselves in by crossing the line. Maya's silence didn't mean weakness, it meant patience. And patience was something her father had taught her well. What the bullies didn't know was that Maya's father wasn't just any parent. He was a Delta Force commander, trained to handle the toughest situations on Earth. And soon, their actions would set off a chain of events they never saw coming. Maya had always been used to moving from place to place. Her father's military career meant that no town ever felt permanent, no school ever felt like home. Still, she had learned to adapt quickly, carrying herself with quiet dignity wherever she went. What her classmates didn't realize was that behind her calm eyes was a girl who had seen more of the world than most of them ever would. She knew the sound of jet engines at midnight, the feeling of hurried goodbyes, and the weight of secrets she could never share. At home, life was different. Her father, Commander Davis, was a man of discipline and quiet strength. He never bragged about his position, but his presence filled every room. To Maya, he wasn't just a soldier, he was her protector and teacher. He taught her that courage wasn't about fighting but about knowing when to stand firm and when to walk away. Those lessons became part of who she was. But at school, none of that mattered. The bullies only saw a quiet black girl who didn't talk much, and they mistook silence for weakness. Their cruel game was only beginning, and they had no idea how far-reaching the consequences of their actions would soon become. The next day at school, Maya felt the stares following her down the hallway. The whispers were louder now, and the bullies seemed more determined to get a reaction out of her. They trailed behind her in the cafeteria, mocking the way she spoke and laughing at the books she carried. Maya kept her composure, remembering her father's advice to stay calm under pressure, but inside she felt the weight of being singled out. It wasn't just about fitting in anymore, it was about surviving each day without breaking. Among the crowd, a few classmates noticed what was happening but chose to stay silent. Fear of becoming the next target kept them quiet, even though guilt weighed heavy on their faces. One student, however, couldn't ignore it. Daniel, a boy who had faced bullying in the past, watched closely. He knew how dangerous things could get if someone didn't step in. Still, he hesitated, unsure if speaking up would make things worse for both him and Maya. Meanwhile, at home, Commander Davis sensed something was wrong. Maya's silence at the dinner table was unusual, and though she tried to hide it, he noticed the sadness in her eyes. He didn't press her yet, but he was already alert, aware that trouble might be closer than Maya wanted to admit. By the end of the week, the tension around Maya had reached its peak. The bullies were no longer content with whispers and mocking in the hallways. They wanted to prove their control, to show everyone that they could break the new girl. That Friday afternoon, as the buses pulled away and the schoolyard grew quieter, they cornered Maya once again. This time, there was no crowd to intervene, no teacher watching from a distance. Their laughter was louder, sharper, echoing through the trees as they dragged her toward the edge of the field where no one usually went. Maya stayed calm on the outside, just as her father had taught her. But inside, her heart pounded. She knew this was different. The game had turned serious, and the air carried a tension she couldn't shake. She thought of her father's words, "Strength isn't always about fighting," but she also remembered his lessons about awareness, patience, and waiting for the right moment. Unseen by the bullies, Daniel had followed from a distance. He hid behind the fence, frozen between fear and the need to act. He knew what they were planning, and his silence was becoming unbearable. At the same time, Commander Davis was already on edge, his instincts screaming that his daughter was in danger. Something was about to break. Just when it seemed the bullies had full control, the situation took an unexpected turn. As they surrounded Maya, one of them pulled out a phone, ready to record the scene and spread it across social media. This wasn't just bullying anymore, it was humiliation planned for the world to see. The thought of becoming the subject of cruel jokes and endless comments made Maya's chest tighten. She had endured the whispers, but this was about to leave a permanent scar. From his hiding spot, Daniel's fear shifted into determination. He realized that if he didn't act now, things would spiral beyond repair. But as he took a step forward, a voice suddenly cut through the clearing, sharp, commanding, and nothing like a student's. It froze everyone in place. Unbeknownst to the bullies, Commander Davis had been nearby, called to the school for a meeting that had run late. His instincts had driven him toward the field the moment he felt something was wrong. What none of them knew was that he hadn't come alone. A fellow soldier, off duty and visiting, had walked with him. The bullies thought they were staging a moment of power, but they had unknowingly stepped into the sights of two men trained to face the most dangerous missions on Earth. The air grew heavier, and no one knew what would happen next. The moment Commander Davis stepped into the clearing, the bullies' laughter died instantly. His presence alone shifted the atmosphere, his eyes sharp and steady, his voice calm yet commanding as he told them to stop. The soldier beside him stood quietly, but the weight of his stance was enough to make even the boldest bully hesitate. Maya looked up, relief washing over her, though she stayed silent, knowing her father's way was not through anger but control. The bullies tried to play it off as a joke, muttering excuses and lowering their eyes, but Davis wasn't fooled. He didn't raise his voice, yet every word carried authority. He reminded them that real strength was never about hurting others but about protecting those who couldn't defend themselves. His words cut deeper than any punishment the school could give. One by one, the bullies shifted uncomfortably, realizing they had underestimated not only Maya but the world she came from. Just as the tension seemed to ease, Daniel stepped forward from his hiding spot. His courage to reveal he had witnessed everything became the final twist. Instead of being dragged into the cruelty, he chose truth, giving Maya both a friend and an ally. The bullies left in silence, but the lesson stayed, echoing far louder than their taunts ever had. After that day, the school felt different. The whispers and cruel stares that had followed Maya vanished almost overnight. Students who had once laughed now watched with a mix of respect and caution, realizing that strength could take many forms. Maya's courage, paired with her father's lessons and Daniel's bravery, had shifted the balance. She no longer felt like an outsider. Instead, she had a newfound confidence, knowing she could face challenges without losing herself. At home, Commander Davis and Maya shared a quiet moment. She didn't need to explain, he already understood. His pride wasn't in the fear the bullies felt but in the way Maya handled herself with calmness and intelligence. He reminded her that real courage was about facing life with integrity, and she had proven that even under the most pressure-filled moments. Daniel became a friend she could trust, and together they began to navigate school life with a sense of solidarity. The bullies, humbled and cautious, never dared to cross that line again. Maya learned an important truth: being different wasn't a weakness, it could be her greatest strength. And sometimes, the people who seem most ordinary carry the most extraordinary power. As the sun set on that week, she smiled, knowing that while challenges would come, she had the courage and support to face anything life threw her way.